These celebrities were famous until they vanished. No note, no trace, no explanation. Jean Spangler. She was young, beautiful, and just beginning to break into Hollywood. Jean Spangler had landed roles in 1940s films and was seen on set with stars like Kirk Douglas. But on the night of October 7th, 1949, she told her sister she had a meeting and never came back. Her purse was found 2 days later in a park with a note inside. "Kirk can't wait any longer. Going to see Dr. Scott. It will work best this way while Mother is away." Who was Kirk? Was it Kirk Douglas, as rumors suggested? And who was Dr. Scott? Her body was never found, no one was arrested, and Hollywood never spoke of her again. Sean Flynn. He had a famous name, a Hollywood career, and a hunger for real adventure. Sean Flynn, son of actor Errol Flynn, ditched the red carpet to become a war photographer. In 1970, while covering the Vietnam War in Cambodia, Sean and another journalist rode motorcycles into a war zone and vanished. There were no calls for ransom, no radio silence broken, just nothing. Remains were found years later, but DNA tests were inconclusive. Was he killed by the Khmer Rouge? Or taken as a prisoner and buried in a forgotten jungle camp? No one knows. His mother searched for decades. She never got answers. Bison Dale, also known as Brian Williams, NBA champion, millionaire, vanished in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Bison Dale, once known as Brian Williams, left the NBA in his prime to live off the grid. In 2002, he boarded his private boat in Tahiti with his girlfriend, boat captain, and brother. Only one returned, his brother Miles. According to him, a fight broke out. People were accidentally killed, but his story kept changing. And before police could press him further, Miles overdosed and died. To this day, Bison's body, and those of the others, have never been found. Connie Converse. She recorded music long before anyone was listening, and vanished before anyone noticed. In the 1950s, Connie Converse wrote haunting folk songs in her New York apartment. Deeply personal, far ahead of her time, but she never found success. By 1974, depressed and disconnected, she wrote goodbye letters to friends, packed her belongings into her car, and drove away. That was the last anyone ever heard from her. Decades later, her music was rediscovered, but the woman behind it remains a ghost. Harold Holt. He wasn't an actor or a singer. He was the sitting Prime Minister of Australia. In 1967, Harold Holt went for a swim at Cheviot Beach and vanished beneath the waves. Search teams scoured the ocean. No body was ever recovered. While most believe he drowned, others claim he faked his death or was picked up by a submarine. Theories ran wild, but the truth? Lost at sea. Barbara Newhall Follett. At 13, she was a literary sensation. At 25, she vanished into thin air. Barbara published her first novel at age 12 to critical acclaim, but after a difficult marriage and mounting mental health struggles, she walked out of her apartment in 1939 after an argument with her husband. She left behind no money, no identification, and no note. Her husband waited 2 weeks to report her missing. No one ever saw her again. Glenn Miller. He led America's most famous swing band during World War II, then vanished in the air. In December 1944, Glenn Miller boarded a small aircraft headed to Paris. The flight never arrived. No distress signal, no wreckage, no explanation. Some believe his plane was shot down in a friendly fire incident and quietly covered up. Others think the plane crashed over the channel in poor weather, but his body was never recovered, and the case was never officially closed. Dorothy Arnold. She was rich, glamorous, and born into New York high society. In 1910, Dorothy left her home to buy a new dress. She was spotted by friends walking down Fifth Avenue, then disappeared forever. Her powerful family kept the case private, even hiring Pinkerton detectives. They offered rewards, chased fake leads, and even paid ransom demands. Nothing worked. Over a century later, no trace of her has ever surfaced. Richie Edwards. He was the voice of a generation, and his final words still echo. As the guitarist for the Manic Street Preachers, Richie was known for his poetic darkness and struggles with mental health. In 1995, just before the band's US tour, he checked out of his hotel in London and disappeared. His car was later found abandoned near a notorious suicide spot, but no body was ever found. Was it suicide, or did Richie, exhausted by fame, start a new life off the grid? Ambrose Bierce, author, soldier, cynic, and maybe the only man who wrote his own disappearance. Bierce, known for his dark fiction and brutal Civil War stories, set off for Mexico in 1913 at age 71 to witness Pancho Villa's revolution. He wrote letters from the front, then nothing, no body, no farewell, just silence. In one of his final writings, Bierce had said, "To be a gringo in Mexico, that is euthanasia." And just like one of his characters, he vanished into the story. Fame may put you in the spotlight, but it doesn't make you immune to mystery. Some were running, some were taken, some simply disappeared. And maybe the scariest part, it could happen to anyone.